Hello, it's Lynn Watts here from Wyatt the Wonder Dog Books, and today I want to talk about stress, and in particular, stress and anxiety for young children. Stress, of course, is something that we all experience. Adults, in particular, I think, are very aware of stress, but it's also true that young children experience stress and potentially anxiety as a result of stress. So, what can we say about stress? Is it just a bad thing? In actuality, there are some positive aspects to stress. For instance, stress can be motivating. It can push us to do things or try things that perhaps we wouldn't do if we weren't stressed and motivated to do something to get out of that stressful situation. It's also true that stress contributes to resilience. I'm not sure we think about that all the time, but if there were somebody who lived a, let's say, stress-free life, they would not know what to do when they face challenges. And so experiencing stress teaches us how to handle stress and what to do about challenges. So it does develop resilience in children. And then finally, stress can be a catalyst for growth. As we overcome difficult situations, face those kind of challenges, we can learn and develop important life skills, strategies, and so on that can serve us in lots of different situations. So I think we can say that there are definitely some positive aspects to stress. Now, it's also true, of course, that stress can be negative. And in particular, stress that is very toxic, stress that becomes overwhelming, stress that is constant, stress where we feel that we have very little control and ability to handle or to overcome or to get away from that stress can definitely be a negative thing. And children, of course, because of their lack of power or lack of agency, many times find themselves in those sort of situations. Particularly, I think if we're talking about, abusive situations, uh, violence, domestic violence, situations in families, bullying, all kinds of things can be very stressful and can be overwhelming. So that would definitely be a negative aspect. One way that stress often manifests itself and is a negative aspect, of course, is physical problems. So many times, children in particular experience, let's say, stomach aches or chronic headaches or trouble sleeping, all kinds of various physical sort of problems, which, of course, as adults, we can experience also with stress. But I think we often see these situations or these physical problems with children because they're have not yet learned other ways to cope with stress. And then finally, stress can result in a lot of emotional sort of strain, anxiety, irritability, depression, withdrawal. All of these kinds of things can be the result of stress and certainly be negative aspects of it. So, what are some common stressors for young children or elementary age children? I don't think any of these will come as a surprise to you, but it's good to just have in mind that any of these things can be stressful. One, of course, is schoolwork, the pressure of excelling at school, and in particular, at certain times of years, testing can be very stressful. Um, Relationships, just for children, just as for the rest of us, can be very stressful. That might be family relationships, it might be friendships, or the difficulty in making friends, keeping friends, lack of peer support, that sort of thing. Family changes can be stressful for children as well as adults. Divorce in a family, death in a family, any of the kind of, I guess I could call them adult sort of problems or troubles can be stressful for the children that have to experience them. Separation anxiety is something that is particular, I think, more to children, especially young children who haven't yet learned the permanency of, or potential permanency, I should say, of relationships. So being separated from a mom or a dad as they go off to school or to camp or something like that can be a stressful situation for young children. Uncertainty and change can be stressful for all of us, but I think it's particularly stressful for young children because they don't yet have the experience of understanding how change um, can, in the end, work out. They don't have that kind of history or that experience of seeing what can happen next and how it can be positive. So, uncertainty, and especially uncertainty about change, which might mean things like moving or changing schools or any kinds of things like that. And then finally, media and technology is a new stressor that we didn't used to have, but children, even young children nowadays, have can potentially have a lot of stress from social media that's out there, the comparison trap that students can get involved in, comparing themselves, their lives, their experiences with other people, just as we as adults do. So, media and technology can lead to stress, and in particular, cyberbullying, which is often a stressful uh, problem situation for young students. So, I think it's important to recognize that although we, I guess, especially in the past, I don't know if we think of this way anymore, but there's a time when we thought of childhood as a very carefree kind of existence. You know, what do you have to worry about as a child? Certainly, there are lots of stressors that can be very difficult and very challenging for young children. In the next video, I'm going to talk about some ways that we can help children and teach children to cope with stress and anxiety. So I hope you find this video helpful as you work with young students and go about improving and changing their lives for the better. Thanks so much for listening.